Sagittarius. These are the July 2023 readings. This one is for you, Sagittarius. I am a Sag moon. So I get it. Expansive, right? Like we like to think big, think about the big issues. I'm a Sag moon, so I feel that very much as like a core part of my personality. I'm a Cancer sun sign, and I never understood like why Cancers are like homebodies. They like to stay, but I also really like to travel, go and like learn about big ideas, mysticism, spirituality, philosophy, that type of stuff. So you're probably into that too. Reminder, this is for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. If you have Venus Sag placements, then this is probably going to be in the realm of love and relationships. Let me turn my phone off. So that is kind of where we're focused if you're getting this as Venus placements in Sagittarius. So just briefly, I'm only going to do it this month. If you've watched all of these, I'm sorry you have to hear this every single time, but this is basically how astrology and tarot fit into my metaphysical, spiritual cosmology. They're energetic weather reports. Take this stuff with a grain of salt. If it resonates, wonderful. If it doesn't, no big deal. If you hear something like there's going to be gnarly energy or there's going to be difficulties or obstacles or challenges, that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to go through these. Everyone's chart is unique. All of these positions and aspects affect people differently. These are just like broad overviews of what you can expect if you have Sagittarius placements in the month of July. So do not feel restricted. Do not feel condemned. Do not feel bad. It's just a nice reference point. If these things are happening, you can be like, okay, astrologically, energetically, subconsciously, right? We perceive things constantly on the above our level of awareness where our conscious mind is. There's a lot of other stuff going on underneath, and we want to be aware of that. We don't have to be, but it's nice because it gives us some opportunity for breaking out of patterns, changing situations, transformation, alchemy, that type of stuff. And so this month for you, Sagittarius, there's a lot of stuff going on. You may have noticed like this is a big transitional year in general. Like you can kind of feel yourself being pulled in a different direction. If you're heeding that call, maybe you're actively going in that direction, and I commend you for that. But if not, you're kind of being dragged there, kicking and screaming, right? And so we know what both of those vibes are like. So let's go over some of the dates for you in July so you can have some awareness of what's going on. For everyone, Mars moves into Virgo on the 11th. It has been in Leo. That's been a very positive aspect for you, Sagittarius. As it moves into Virgo, there may be some feelings of restrictions or slowdowns. It's really important that you maintain your belief in like luck and good fortune. You have this expansive kind of ability to feel blessed and like miracles are coming into your life. That's because Jupiter, Zeus, rules your sign, and he is the boon giver. He goes around the zodiac just giving gifts, being like, haha, you have some, haha, you have some. And we like that. Who doesn't want to have expansive, transformative energy enter their lives? So that there's a little bit of restriction as Virgo Mars restrictions take place. So just try to maintain your positive outlook. I do not think this is going to be a month that's particularly challenging. It doesn't seem like energetically that's what's going to be going on. We'll let the cards kind of reveal what that exactly is going on, but there may be some periods of kind of like, oh, what the fuck? Why is this not flowing exactly how I want it to flow? There may be like temporary setbacks. I want to highlight the word temporary there. It is not going to be something where you're restricted the entire month. The energy will be like, let's say in terms of like intenseness, like a 6 out of 10 for you. It's not going to be something totally insane, but it's also not going to be nothing. Okay. I also want to point out that any periods of emotional turmoil that you may go through, not only will they be temporary, there are also opportunities for you to kind of ascend past those feelings, ascend through those situations. They're all opportunities and stepping stones. This isn't the beginning of a restrictive period for you. It's just slight restrictions peppered throughout the month that may feel like temporary setbacks, as opposed to just like clicking into like a down period. That's not what's in the cards. I mean, we'll let them say, but it's not really what's going to be happening for you. I can confidently say that. The moon enters Sagittarius on July 21st. This is a really good time to focus on potential travel adventure, and philosophy. So if you're thinking of taking a little trip or going somewhere, not locally, but a little more far, the July 21st would be a great day to maybe kick off that trip. Really think about, or maybe even make plans for a trip. Just some type of adventure that doesn't necessarily get you out of your comfort zone, but really is something you'd be interested in doing. That's going to be a really auspicious time for you to do that. The key words for this month are going to be restlessness and adventure, right? Those are the key kind of like hallmark. Like you may feel like you want to move. You may feel like you want to like, you're kind of like, you need to get out and do stuff. Don't fight that feeling. Believe in it. It's going to be a good thing. But while you're out there kind of doing those things, it may feel like there's just a little bit of restricting. But here's the thing. You, Sagittarius, are quite good at being optimistic and hopeful, right? It is a natural part of your being. It is something that even when shit is hitting the fan, you still have this inner spark that you kind of recognize like, shit's all right. Shit's good. Like, I get it. I kind of get, and you can see these broader lessons in a way that makes things make sense for you. So embrace that, love that, enjoy it. Saturn is going to be opposing Mars, and that may be a bit of a kind of damper on certain relationships, but nothing here is so gnarly that it's going to be like a very difficult month. Again, we'll let the cards kind of dictate the specifics of this energy, but for the most part, it's going to be like a pretty cool month for you. A lot of like realizations and kind of like epiphanies that's going to be flowing in July. So just roll with it and just make sure you stay positive, because you're going to be rewarded for that. The more positivity you can kind of latch on to. And just remember, any type of like turmoil or setbacks, it's very temporary. It's not going to be something that you're going to have to deal with for an extended period of time. So hopefully that can give you some solace and comfort if you do hit, a rough patch or two. But in general, I think it's going to be a very positive month. So let's pull some cards. Let's see what's going on. Love the Sagittarius, one of my favorite signs. So expansive. Of course, Five of Pentacles. Magician upright. Well, let's talk about setbacks, huh? And Judgment reversed. Okay, this is important. This is giving us an idea of where maybe some of these setbacks are taking place. And it doesn't have to just be in the realm of abundance or finances or material things, but the Five of Pentacles certainly does point to that being an arena. And the emotional feeling of this is essentially like, hey, why can't I get to that place where I was before? Or why can't I get to that place that I know I'm going to? Why am I not there yet? Okay. And there may be some distortions in terms of being able to create things. Like maybe you have a very clear goal of something you want to do, something you want to experience, somewhere you want to go. And it's just like, I can't make that magic happen right now. And this is what I mean by temporary setbacks. That's not going to be an energy you're dwelling in, you're persisting in, some dominant theme that's just going to be shadowing your entire month. But there may be a period of kind of, it's like, why is it just like, it's not clicking? I feel restricted a little bit. I feel like someone's kind of pressing down on my ability to manifest or create the things I want to create. The key is to not feel like hopeless in that situation, right? Judgment reversed is like kind of feeling unworthy, kind of feeling like you don't deserve it. I don't think this is going to be a mind state that you stay in for very long, but if those feelings do pop up, just try to counteract them with your innate positivity. And this, Sag, shit is going to be okay. Right? Even if you forget that temporarily, even if it feels like the circumstances and what you're perceiving just isn't validating that, that. And I don't think I need to like harp on that too much. You have this innate quality of recognizing that things do work out for you no matter what. Maybe they don't always work out at every single point of all time throughout your life. But overall, I think if you look back, you'd be like, you know what? I've been pretty lucky. Like I've had a lot of things fall my way, and just because there's a few things that aren't going my way right now, and I don't feel like I kind of have the tools available to make them go my way, it's more of like, how do I kind of be aware that this is going on, but not fall into the trap that this is something I have to live in forever, right? And there should be this ability to kind of pop out of that relatively quickly. Again, a catalyst day for really like working on that and getting to the bottom of those issues would be July 21st when the moon enters Sagittarius. That's going to be like a total amplification of these innate emotional feelings you have for kind of like expansive mystical, like that's the day to get over the Magician being reversed here. The Magician is manifestation, it's creation, it's like a performative, like casting spells, doing magic, that type of stuff. And when we see it reversed, it's just like, I'm a little out of sync with that right now. So some obstacles, no big deal. We like to get that stuff. Page of Pentacles. Yeah, there's definitely some abundant situations. The Emperor, masculine energy is going to help you. And then 5 of Cups. Okay, cool. So again, this is feeling like in the realm of finance or abundance, whatever you want to call it. There may be something you have recently started that was like in the realm of making money or even a career, and it may not be clicking into place right now. So rather than freak out about that and say, oh, it's doomed, it's not going to work, just like use your analytical and logical abilities to work out any issues or problems. Like basically, you're going to be able to kind of think your way through this one. And also it doesn't like give it an effort, give it a push. Like don't just let things happen and just kind of sit back and be like, oh, it's not working out. Like actually go for the things that you're trying to have happen. Put a little bit more energy into them, put a little bit more focus and awareness, and you should see those projects begin to take off in the way that you want. One important thing to remember when it comes to abundance mentality is you don't look back and say, oh, well, this didn't go right, that didn't go right, this isn't going right. If you dwell on everything that's not going right, you're missing clear opportunities that are happening, right? And we look at this with the 5 of Cups. Like we see this guy looking at these 3 cups that have spilled before him, and it's like, oh no, woe is me. He's got 2 perfectly fine cups behind him. And if you look over to the right, he's got this bridge where he can get to his nice home, but he's dwelling on the past. And that's something that's really important in terms of like keeping your vibes up and positive. Don't focus on what's gone wrong. Don't deny that things maybe haven't gone perfectly or maybe they went totally wrong. You don't say, oh, well, no, that didn't happen. You just don't dwell on it. You just don't focus your attention retrospectively on everything that hasn't worked out, because it just perpetuates that into the future. And you really don't need that. You don't want that. It's not serving you, that's for sure. And this is going to be an emotional thing, right? So if you're emotionally focusing on the stuff that hasn't gone well, it's like just get it going. Plan Alpha, you're saying, do I check my messages on Patreon? Yeah, I check them on Patreon. I mean, the best way to get in touch about any real questions is email me at noah@syncpodcast.com. I do the Q&As on Patreon, but they're like, when I get enough of them, I do them. If people don't have questions, I'm not just going to go make up questions. Good stuff though. So yeah, again, like just don't dwell emotionally. Don't like feeling sorry for yourself, especially like that's not going to get you anywhere. It's not your vibe. It's not your steez. Like don't fall into that trap of thinking like that's what the issue is. Like, and you need to be like lamenting or dwelling is the word that comes to mind. Like, don't do that. It's not who you are, and it's not going to serve you. And there's so many positive opportunities here for you to actually like make forward progress with all the things you're actually caring about. So don't do that. One note about relationships, just ping me like, if maybe a relationship hasn't worked out recently, or you're realizing a relationship you're in isn't working out, don't focus on all the reasons it didn't work out. Just decide how you feel about the relationship, right? If it's over, try to get closure on that. If it's about to end, make a decision that it needs to end because it's for your own emotional well-being. That's really for you to understand. Just don't kind of get caught up, and certainly don't not make moves. If you get stagnant, it's going to feel a little bit kind of wonky for you. I understand Mars is going to be in Virgo, and so there may be some slowdown effect there, but it's not like the end of the world for you. So just don't get caught up. There we go. I mean, we knew there was going to be a lot of positive with you, Sag. Like, it's very clear this month. Oh, my gosh. There we go. 4 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles. And then, of course, we get the new path of the 10 of Swords to come up, just to throw a little wild card in there. So 4 of Wands and 9 of Pentacles, right? This is perfect, like, harmony, like really achieving, being self-sufficient, but having this harmony of masculine and feminine energy come in to kind of coalesce around like real belief in yourself, real belief in the things that you're working on, real belief in your relationships, real belief in just like abundance and being able to be self-sufficient. This is an energy that will be very present for you. It's going to be something that you appreciate. It's something that I do recommend hanging out in quite a bit. This is not something, I don't think any other sign has gotten this yet. It's basically like really nice, warm, fuzzy, I'm on the right track energy. Now, as soon as that comes, we also have the 10 of Swords here. There may be some area of your life where you feel a bit betrayed or a bit like, you know, someone did something to you and it wasn't very nice and it kind of like ruined this thing you were doing. It could be a relationship, could be a coworker. All I would say is, again, when that energy pops up, just try to be aware of it, acknowledge it, but don't stay and hang around that, right? This is everything that happens to you this month that feels weird or maybe not great or maybe even makes you suffer a little bit. That is a clear opportunity for you to move past that and then become a more complete and stable person. None of this is to knock you back into place and say, hey, you're going the wrong direction. Do not take any distortions in its energy this month as signals that you're going the wrong direction. That's the incorrect message you could take from any energy that is not like completely aligned with where you're going. I just want to be very, very clear about that. Sometimes when energy comes up, it is a clear signal, sign, direction that like, hey, maybe turn back. Like maybe this is not really the right direction to be going in. And obviously if you're getting like a gut feeling that that's what it is, don't fight it. But my hunch is that that's not really what it's going to be. It's going to be something like you can latch onto that mentality if you're feeling blue or you're feeling like sorry for yourself, but it's really just to more align you with your path, right? And I think this would be a really, let's say something has like fallen apart in your life or falls apart in July, use that as an opportunity to like get out of where you are and go somewhere that really like rejuvenates your spirit, whether that's traveling to a place you've never been before or traveling to one of your favorite destinations where you really feel good in that place. Like get out of Dodge if something is like not feeling right at home. There's nothing wrong with that. It will feed your soul. You need to travel a certain amount. So if you push that off, especially if you're a Sag moon or Sag sun sign, like you need to do that, right? Like it is, if you haven't done that or haven't been doing that and things don't feel quite right, see how they feel if you take a trip somewhere. See how they feel if you take a trip and you're like, oh no, I can't do that. You know, I don't have the time. Yeah, you do. Everyone always has the time, even if you'd never have the time. Trust me, I have 3 kids. I got, you know, families galore, all this stuff going on all the time. It's when you make the decision to actually prioritize what's important to you that actually things open up. Time is relative. If you feel like you don't have the time, guess what? You do not have the time. Yeah, Plan Alpha, the 10 of Swords does keep popping up. And I think this is like, generally speaking, this is just the vibe of July. Like there's a lot of movement with the planets in and out of signs, and Mars moving into Virgo and Saturn opposing it. Like there is just like a restriction period, and the restriction isn't to like, again, I said this in almost every reading where this type of energy comes up. It's just not here to mess you up. It's here to get you course corrected, course aligned. And you could argue that like everything is like that all the time, but sometimes we just have to learn lessons that are painful and difficult, and really like there's not so much course correction going on. This is course corrective energy. This is like we're moving towards cycles where we have to deal. When I say have to, it behooves us to deal with deeper issues that maybe we've been putting off. If we don't deal with those actively, we will be forced to deal with them subconsciously and unconsciously, which usually causes like major disruptions in our lives. That's all. Like this is a major year. It's like a pivot year. It's a transformation year. You can think like, listen, we had COVID happen. It was like 2.5 years. People are still kind of in shock and having aftershocks of that whole experience. They're rediscovering who they are. They're rediscovering what's important to them. They're kind of building identities on where they want to go. And it's not always easy to understand after you've been through a traumatic experience. And I just want to be clear, like lockdown and stuff like that, like, and I traveled as much as anyone during the lockdown, it's still a traumatic experience. Any isolation from your fellow human beings where it's basically mandated is a traumatic experience. Any experience that pits people who have different beliefs, whether it's about vaccines or big pharma or whatever, or RFK's a loon or he's not a loon, this puts a strain on us internally, right? And we have to be aware that these energies are existing and have existed if we have any hope to kind of move past them and get to the point where we're like feeling good and like optimistic about what's going on in the world. Like Sagittarius, you can here's a way to tell if you are misaligned in any way. If you feel like the world is bad and it's a fucked up place and there's not a lot of good things going on and everything is going to hell in a handbasket, you are misaligned. That is not the energy for a Sagittarius to be thinking in. You are supposed to be the person who is everlasting optimistic, who maybe is aware of all the shadow material and all of the kind of darker stuff that goes on, but you view that as kind of like an inspirational way to spread the light. Like it's an opportunity to actually make things better rather than to be like, oh yeah, what a bleak and horrible place. Like I don't want to be here anymore, right? That's your role. So if you're not feeling like that, if you've moved into cynicism, if you've moved into doubt, if you've moved into fear, that's just an indicator that you need to do some work to kind of get aligned with your highest self. And that is just like a kind of kingly, leadery type of like expansive type of personality. Like you open things up for yourself and other people. And to be able to do that, you need to be feeling good. So it's very important, Sagittarius, this month that you like do the work to feel good. And when gnarly energy comes in, you don't get like, oh God, this is so horrible. I hate it. I don't want to feel it. That's just not going to serve you. Like it's never going to serve you, but this month in particular, because this is like a real like notch up, level up month opportunity for you. And you just don't want to like waste it, basically. Pull some animal oracle. We just got this one. I just shuffled these intensely. Starfish spirit, open to infinite possibility. Sag, that should get your juices flowing. You like infinite possibility. Snake spirit, time to heal. And this is what I was referring to kind of with the COVID stuff, is like you have to acknowledge trauma and traumatic experiences to have any hope of like integrating and processing and healing through them. If you just pretend that everything is okay all of the time or don't acknowledge when things have gone wrong, you're basically just sweeping stuff under the rug, right? And that rug eventually gets a huge lump in it, and you're like, oh, what the fuck is going on under there? And by the time you open it up, it's like evolved in some weird demonic creature that you have to deal with. So just, be careful of sweeping too much stuff under the rug. And this is like a really nice time to kind of be healing. Okay. Beaver spirit, lay a solid foundation. And that's what a lot of this month feels like here for you, Sagittarius. This is your month to really set up the stage for the rest of the year and especially 2024 to really be on track with your life. Like you have a clear idea of what you want your life to look like. You know. Like, how you're supposed to feel. You know the things you're supposed to be doing. If you're out of touch with that, please get in touch with that. But this is the month to really like lay that foundation, build that solid platform in which you can approach the world and approach yourself and approach your relationships in a healthy, organic, healing way. Like that is what you're supposed to do. Plan Alpha, you're asking, I don't know if you remember in your episode Into Place at around 27-24, you said 2024, we're good, cruising, hold that in your mind. Yeah, I do feel like that still about 2024. I knew going into this year that it was going to be a lot of ups and downs. Like it just was abundantly clear to me that like there was just stuff that people still had to deal with. I can tell you personally, it's been a very up and down year, like the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, like more than I can remember in the past like 5 or 6 years. And again, like as I was fighting that and kind of like not acknowledging it, it got more and more difficult and things just got rougher and rougher. And I was just not in a good place. And then at a certain point, I was like, well, how long do I want to live like this? Like, how long do I actually want to be out of touch with the things that I know I need to be doing? It's a big reason I'm doing these readings. Is like, it just became abundantly clear to me, like, I like doing this. People get value out of it. I feel better after I do it. Like, there's something that needs to be communicated through them. And if I stifle that or push it down, it's just not aligning with who I want to be and who I am. And so those are the types of questions that we're supposed to be answering this year So in 2024, we can already be on the right track and just kind of capitalizing on energy that is going to feel very kind of flowy and clicky. Think back to like 2020, 2021, like right before the pandemic when things were just like, like those years, while they were like very weird, there was so much opportunity in them. There was so much, like we didn't realize it at the time, but there was so much kind of stability that we took for granted, because sometimes, whether you want to blame the media or just like whatever, the elites, whoever you want to blame, it's ultimately you. But, you know, there's a lot of reasons if you look out in the world that maybe you don't feel so great, that maybe things aren't just like the way you want them to be. But again, it's a matter of your perspective. It's a matter of you being able to see through kind of the bullshit and the narratives and the stories that are just being pitched to you that are trying to keep you. Listen, I don't want to say anyone is trying to do it to you, but it's hard to deny that if you look at most media out there, it's not really meant to inspire you. It's not really meant to like keep you at a high vibratory frequency. And it's not because it's an intentional conspiracy. It's just partially because like attention flows to things like with energy, and the energy of like chaos, destruction, cynicism are very alluring. So people have learned in positions that, hey, if we say there's all these murders, we say there's all these horrible things going on, people will pay attention. And it's really not any more complicated than that. It's not like some evil cult that's trying to like destroy everything and bring people to the dark side. I mean, it could be, but I highly doubt that. Was I lying about what this month is about for you, Sagittarius? Adventure. Adventure. Like it's just that month. The more you can get out and do things like taking a little bit of risk, I think around July 21st would be a wonderful time to do that. But this is a really good month to travel. You will meet some interesting people. You may make some connections with some people who are brand new in your life who you may become lifelong friends with. They may serve a very important role in your life. And what's cool about that when we talk about adventure is that's where those infinite possibilities open up. That's where the possibility of something you couldn't even conceive of specifically enters your life. I mean, everyone has this happen. Like if you've met someone in your life who you're romantically involved with, you didn't really know who that person was or what it was going to be like before you got with them. They entered your life. There was a nexus point, a vortex point, which allowed you to kind of meet and resonate with their energy that allowed it to prosper. So if you're still looking for a relationship or it's something now that you think you're ready for, just be open to the idea. That's all you have to do. Sag, like, this is the cool thing about Sagittarius. You just have to have an inkling of an idea of something that you want, and Jupiter and Zeus will come in and just pop it open for you. It's really like, please know that that is not how it is for every sign. Some signs really have to put in the work and they have to get into like the weeds to make things kind of pop. You don't. You just have to have the confidence, belief, and conviction that something nice is going to happen for you. Something great, something awesome is going to happen for you. And lo and behold, you get a crack in the door and it flies wide open. And so that's why I say, like, really like honor your adventurous self here, Sagittarius. It's just something that you're just going to feel better and better. And like when you look back after kind of committing to a sense of adventure, to a sense of kind of like the unknown, so to speak, it's exhilarating. You're going to love it. You're going to really be tuning in to like, you know, your being and what your special kind of role on this planet is. Pull some threads of fate. The pillar. Again, this goes right back to the foundational aspect of what you're building. This is like setting the tone for your life. This is a great year. Like, keep that in your mind. This is setting the tone. This is really like constructing the vibe. This is your month to work on the vibe, to really like envision what it is that you want to experience and allow that to propagate and kind of fill out completely. Patience, of course, as much as I say this, they come in and they remind, hey, listen, you may get some slowdown at some point. Saturn may come in and say, hey, Mars, I know you want to move. I know you want to get all this shit done, but guess what? Think about it. Pause. Slow that bitch down. It's not the right opportunity. You're basically like waiting for alignment. And Saturn is saying, not yet, not yet, not yet, now. That's kind of what is going on here. So just try to remember that. Slowdowns aren't to say, no, you can't have this. No, this is not on the table for you. this is not going to be something you're interested in. No, I'm sorry. It's just like, slow down. Let's time this out right. Let's get this so tuned in that you flow so seamlessly through this vortex of consciousness that you're going to be like, wow, nailed it. And the universe. And we see the card for the universe, right? These strings on the hand. And that's essentially what you're doing, right? You are puppeting aspects of your life. No one else is doing that. Please do not give away your power to any experience, circumstance, person, guru, leader, doctor, whoever. You can take advice, you can get perspective, but ultimately it's you doing this thing. It's you doing this dance, and you will get better and better at it. This month is just to get very familiar with the concept of like, you got to have the vision. You need to envision the desire, the goal. I was listening to something very interesting. It was this James Allen stuff, and he was kind of shitting on desire. And he's like, no, it's not really about desire. It's about like, I think it was like responsibility or like just being like disciplined. I think it was disciplined. And that's like a very Saturnian way of looking at things. And I would argue that yes, discipline and focus and awareness are critical energies that you need to have if you want to kind of create anything in this world. But how do you know what you want to create? What do you know about what feels good to you? How do you determine that? Are you just going to sit back and wait for things to happen to you and then see, oh, I like that, oh, I don't like that? No. You're going to take some type of active role in pursuing what it is you would like to experience. And are you going to have a 100% hit rate? No, you're not. You're not going to be batting 1,000. You don't make contact and hit it in the right place every single time you swing. But guess what? More often than not, you're going to be doing well. But you got to have some focus, some idea on what it is that you would like to experience. And that's what this month is about for you. And just be patient if things don't flow immediately, right? Immediately. That's what we're looking at. We want things to flow, of course, but just respect the timing that you have set up for yourself so you're not freaking out if things aren't happening boom, 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 boom. And I think you're going to be okay with that. The moon reversed, emotionally being pinged. This is nice, getting over something that maybe has been really kind of keeping you down. And then the Hierophant. Very interesting. Okay, so we have the moon here reversed, right? There may be a point in feeling where you're just like, your feelings are a little out of whack this month. Seeing that it comes with these other cards, like there may be something that needs to change in your life that has been, let's say, a little unconventional, that has maybe been throwing you off balance, right? And I do believe the 10 of, or the 9 of Wands here, or is it the 10? Yeah, the 9 of Wands rather, is going to be kind of indicating that something that has really been beating you up, that has really been kind of trying your patience and making you feel like, you know, it's hard. It's really hard. That energy will lift. Okay. That energy is going to lift. And when we're looking at these two cards together, it's like emotional stuff has been making you feel a little bit down. There's some aspect of some area of your life that is just emotionally keeping you kind of low or blue. And that will change. And you may actually need to find some type of traditional system that will help alleviate that. That could be something like acupuncture. It could be yoga. It could be therapy. It could be some type of healing modality that is structured in a way that helps you move through that. It doesn't have to be. You don't even have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything. If that's something that speaks to you, I would say, given just kind of the tea leaves of this month, if you were to try something like yoga, or you were to try something like acupuncture, or you were to try something with any group of people in any group setting focused on healing, that would probably pay dividends. So if you have been thinking about trying something new in some healing modality, that's a good bet. That's going to give you some perspective on your feelings that maybe have felt a little bit low, right? Maybe there's an area of your life that has felt like a little out of balance, a little out of whack, just not on the right wavelength, right? That's what's coming through. And you probably would benefit from some type of structured, organized activity, right? You're also probably going to meet some interesting people if you do go do a new thing. Qigong, something like that. I don't know what speaks to you specifically, but some type of modality where you can be in a new place focused on healing together would probably be something that is quite beneficial for you. And I highly recommend that because, you know, there's a lot of different ways of getting to a place where we feel better. What's up, Shadow Mark 3? How you doing? You know, there's a lot of different ways that we kind of work through issues, and sometimes it's better to do stuff by ourselves and work through issues alone and kind of get to the bottom of them. If you're introverted in any way, you're probably going to be aligned with that, but that's also sometimes specifically where it's a nice idea to go with other people and heal together. This could be, it just came up, like an ayahuasca ceremony, any kind of plant medicine might be a really nice choice for you, Sagittarius. When I say travel, that also is inner travel, right? Going to vast, distant dimensions internally. This is a great month to do that if you were wanting to go on like a spirit journey or something. I know, Plan Alpha, you asked in the last one for Scorpio, is it a good month to take psychedelics? And for Scorpio, yeah, if you really want to like get into the weeds and go into some deep places, sure, go for it, but it's going to be very intense. Sagittarius, on the other hand, it's like this is a good it's an auspicious month for taking some travel through your mind. It's not a bad thing to do. I'd definitely give you the go ahead if you were trying to do that, mushrooms or, you know, maybe acid, just something there to kind of get you to travel to different areas of your mind and consciousness is going to be something that benefits you greatly. Okay, let's pull another one of these. Be your best self always. When is that not good advice? But this is, again, it's pointing to like maybe something doesn't go super flowy for you in July. The chances of that are not low. It's how you deal with it. It's how you work through that. It's how you kind of get to the point where you recognize that you can still be optimistic. You can still believe in your good fortune and luck. That's your best self, Sag. That's like the best thing you can do. You really want to be able to get to the place that no matter what comes your way, even if it's not comfortable, even if it's not fun, even if it's not like, even if it's just like kind of a shitty time, you don't lose touch with the aspect of yourself that really kind of like puts you in a place that it's like, okay, I see that this is a temporary thing. I see that this is something that's actually for my benefit. If you can cultivate that mindset and really kind of lock it in, you're basically invulnerable. And it doesn't mean you don't deal with trauma. It doesn't mean you don't deal with stress. It doesn't mean you don't deal with negative or intrusive self-talk. It just means you have a strategy for actually dealing with it now rather than getting beaten down and pushed down to the ground and being like, oh, fuck. How the fuck am I going to deal with this? You know? And that's ultimately like what we're looking for. We're looking for some real practical ways with how to deal with situations in our life that maybe consciously we didn't see coming. Maybe there was something subconscious. Maybe there was something archetypal that's coming up. It's a pattern that's really coming up, asking us to look at it. Like, what do we do about that? How do we realize that? And that's what this month is for you. It's like really to come up with a clear strategy of how to work through things where it feels good to you. Okay. Page of Swords, new path, star. First time the stars come up in all the readings, an ascendant. And the world. This is what I'm talking about. The world is going to open up for you. There is a new path of clarity beginning to come in, but the winds of change are also moving through. The winds of change are moving through. There is going to be some new, fresh energy where you are motivated. You are thinking clearly about what this new path is. You're going to rise to the top with emotional balance, 1 foot in the water intuitively, 1 foot on the ground. You're going to be there, and this is going to help you to ascend rather quickly. We like the Jupiterian energy with the star. And then finally, the world. The world opens up as kind of a portal to whatever reality you want to live in. When you can harness the energy of the star on your new path, when you can go to a place where you recognize that this is absolutely a moonshot of a life for you. This is why adventure is very important this month. Like, it's an opportunity for you to go somewhere, and like, you know, when you go to a new place and you just feel the vibes and you're like, holy shit, like I didn't even know this existed. I had been around the same energy for so long. Like I forgot that there's amazing new and exciting places out there. That feeds your soul, Sagittarius. That's like what you are made of, right? And that doesn't just apply for physical locations. It applies for learning new things, getting involved in a new kind of spiritual practice or activity, you know, whether that's dream analysis or, you know, plant medicine or yoga or Buddhism or whatever it is. Those are the things that are kind of going to scratch the itch of you wanting to expand. It's this constant expansive process that you go through that if you fight that and you're not aligned with that, it's going to crush you. You're going to feel so constricted and so wound up. It's going to get such like a one-dimensional life. It's just, that's not your power place. Your power place is going out on adventures, exploring new places in your mind and in the world. And if you can do any of that in July, you should be able to move with this energy and really set up the stage for like an awesome rest of the year and a totally awesome 2024. Okay. Sag, you got this shit. You got this shit. Okay. We're coming back probably with at least one more today, maybe two, and we will wrap up the Zodiac tomorrow. So we'll be back with one more today. I think we have 3 more to do. What do we got? Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. So we'll be back with